The Money Show brought to you by the Old Mutual Investment Group. Do great things. Tonight, shapeshifter arrived in South Africa at the age of 27. Born in Morocco, raised in Israel. He tells me it wasn't a 6-week holiday, it was a 2-week holiday. Asher Bohbot is tonight's shapeshifter, the chief executive of technology company EOH, a multi-billion rand company that has been built by Asher Bohbot over the last couple of decades. As we move the microphone into more closely, Asher, tell me the story. It's a lovely story of how you come here on a 2-week holiday and then kind of stick around.
Yeah, good evening. The idea of coming here for a 2-week holiday was not mine. A friend of mine suggested, let's go to South Africa for 2 weeks. And I said, where is it? What is it? Etc. And he said, don't worry, I've organized everything. He didn't pitch up. I came on my own.
You arrived at Jan Smuts Airport.
Exactly. I did arrive at Jan Smuts Airport, and it was an interesting experience because I didn't know anybody. He planned everything. And I just sat on a bench there. There was an old man. I tried to chat to him with a broken English. And then I went outside. I asked the taxi to take me to a cheap hotel, which he did take me to a very cheap hotel in Hillbrow. Very interesting hotel.
But this was 30 years ago. Hillbrow was still a trendy place in those days.
And it was a trendy place. And then I sort of toured around, and I went onto a bus to go downtown. And on the bus, I saw a girl that used to share a flat with me in Israel. I said, what are you doing here? She got married. Her husband brought her here. She said, come to my flat. I went straight to her. And a guy came and said, there's another visitor that came to visit them, and said that he just came back from Israel to recruiting industrial engineers. Wouldn't you? And I'm an industrial engineer. He said, wouldn't you like to work here for a bit? so that's how it started. So I did stay for a couple of months. I asked for extended leave, and then 3 months became 6, and 6 in a year, and here I am.
And you've overstayed your welcome.
I have overstayed my welcome.
But you come here for 2 weeks. It's a fabulous story as to how serendipity works. You bump into a friend from Israel quite by coincidence. Without that meeting, you would have gone back to Israel and taken part of what they're calling now the startup nation.
Yeah. So much for 5-year plans, etc. You know?
But is that in your nature? I mean, industrial engineers aren't, by their nature, in my experience, people who make snap decisions just like that.
There are different industrial engineers, you know. Not all accountants are the same.
No,
a few of them not.
I'm afraid they are.
No, but it was, I was in my 20s, and obligations, etc. And it was very interesting, exciting, and I did enjoy all my time in South Africa, and I'm still enjoying it. So.
What was the attraction, though? What was the thing that's made you think to yourself, I'm 27 years old, Israel has got its own challenges. You come to a place like South Africa, which 30 years ago was a very different country. What was the one thing that made you think this can work for me?
Oh, no, in my head, I never left Israel. It was nothing. I didn't run away from anything. I really came for a 2-week holiday, and I still have nothing against Israel. It wasn't going away from. But just, 20s, it's the sense of adventure, exciting new place, so there was nothing deeper than that.
Okay, so you'd be a typical 27-year-old.
27-year-old, and just some adventure. Yeah.
What was the first job then, that industrial engineering job? Where was it?
That guy, the very same guy, actually took me to AECI. So I worked at the explosive factory, and I worked there for a year, and then I moved to work for PG Bison, which I stayed there for 16 and a half years or so.
PG Bison making boards?
Making boards, exactly. Making boards and Formica and that type of products. And I've been there, worked there in different roles, etc. And then in 98, decided that maybe it's time to change. I enjoyed what I did, where I did at PG Bison. I decided to change and move a different field. I had some affinity to technology at the time, and I said maybe there is a new way of delivering technology to customers, and that's how EOH has started.
Because 1998, there's this thing called this technology excitement. It's not yet the technology bubble, but it's about to burst.
It was, business started 4 months before the bubble burst, and we were listed 2 weeks before the bubble burst. So we know all about it, but I must be honest, we kind of took advantage of it with a lot of businesses around us failing. We absorbed a lot of those businesses into UH, and that's what the foundation of UH got created. But actually, not nice to say, but by failures of others. But that's the world of business, and the opportunities were there.
I want to take a step back before we go forward again. Enterprise Outsource Holdings is the company's name. It's now simply known as EOH.
Yes.
But do you think these guys who are now running multi-billion rand companies always had it easy? Month one, you couldn't pay salaries.
It was a gap of 5 days.
Okay.
That I needed some, we got paid at the end of the month, and the salaries go usually on the 25th of the month. And I remember it was a Saturday morning, and I took my son to play soccer, and the phone calls started arriving of those guys that didn't pay. The bank just didn't pay them. They took the money that I had, paid whoever they could, and the balance they couldn't. But we did. I did manage to organize some cash in between, credit cards, etc. And before the 31st, we paid the people that didn't get paid.
Pavlo Fatidis tells the story about when you start a business, you get cash from wherever you can. He does small business for us on a Thursday night. He says you bootstrap. You just stretch every credit line you've got, and that's precisely what you did. Where did the core of your staff at EOH come from?
The core came from PG Bison. They were the first customer of EOH.
Because you were running the IT department at PG Bison.
It was one of my...
and said to them, look, I'm resigning, but how about you outsource the stuff to me and I'll run it for you?
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. It was a bit more complex than that.
Of course.
But that's how it started. And I must admit, they're still a customer 14 years later, and a good customer, and hopefully we're a good service provider to them.
And that's important, I suspect. I mean, it also suggests that there is a service level and an integrity level that is being honored by EOH. You haven't forgotten those early roots and your dependence on those guys as your first customer.
No, of course, never mind a first customer, but they gave us a break with fairness. And you said that when you start the business, the things are tight. But at the same time, I can just about guarantee you that anybody who started a business know who gave them a break. You do need a break, and please give breaks to young guys who want to start businesses, etc. Everybody needs a break, and PG Bison did give us a break, with all fairness.
And I hope in your invoicing you give them a break every month as well.
Yeah, we give them a little bit of a special discount for friends. Yes.
But here you start a business, and you say a month before the IT bubble bursts. You list 2 weeks before the bubble bursts. Take us through what happened then.
What happened then is that it was mad times. I don't know if you guys are around. I mean, we're starting to get older.
I remember the cover of The Economist, which sort of talked about the IT boom, that forecast the implosion in the IT boom, and then suddenly 1998, 1999, the world seemed to be collapsing around our ears.
Yeah, well, there was a fundamental reason for it. It wasn't just a kind of an error or mistake of somebody. That the technology world was there. Things were happening, things were changing. But technology businesses didn't know how to make money out of it, which is a different thing altogether. You can have a lot of gadgets, a lot of stuff that happened at a time, but how do you convert it into being a normal business, have revenue, have bottom line, have costs, and hopefully the costs are lower than your revenue. And that's where we failed. Our technology world has shifted, obviously, since then, and we know how to make money out of providing our offerings, services, and products.
And in that process, though, the big meltdown of 1998, 1999, how did you become one of the survivors of that as a brand new player in this technology outsourcing space?
What we've done is obviously we had some corporate understanding. I've been in the corporate world for 17 years or so beforehand. So when I arrived into it, I wasn't a youngster with a little bit of a gizmo trying to become a businessman. We did have a decent understanding of business. And as I said earlier, we capitalize. People that had products and had services didn't know how to do, they couldn't make ends meet, joined us, and we supported them, provided some financial support, some guidance, and slowly we helped those businesses that have joined us. At the same time, we provided outsourcing was the core of our activity, and outsourcing, if you do it well, is not an invention. It's not a little new idea, but it's something that is established in our game, and that's what we focused on in the beginning. Obviously, since then, we've expanded to many other areas.
How many companies have you sort of swallowed up over the last 15 years?
First of all, we don't swallow.
How many have you merged with? How many have you partnered with and acquired?
It sounds much nicer. How many people joined us? Because the way we treat it is people join us. Become our partners, become part of us, and share hopefully the same dream. And I must admit that whoever joins us, just about without exception, are still with us. Even if it was 14 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 8 years ago. People join us, and it's part of it. We've got, in UH, we don't see ourselves as just a little mechanism of creating some money for some oblivious shareholder. We'd like to think that we do make a difference out there, that we are a force for good out there, and that we do things properly, ethically, and we have the right environment for people to thrive, to feel good about themselves.
So how many companies have joined you?
Yeah, maybe 20 or thereabout.
But it is through their demise, their potential demise, and you going in providing the support that you've been able to sort of give them a continuum.
No, that was the demise side of things. It was only in the 99 era. But since then, all the people that have joined us, whether it's through recruitment or through what you would call acquisition, are great people, great businesses, and we wouldn't touch today those that struggle. I was talking about what happened in 99.
Something that you said that struck me very strongly was the fact that you understood the corporate sector, you'd worked in that corporate sector, and that gave you the advantage which many of your younger upstart competitors perhaps didn't have at the time. How important, so many people come and say, I want to be an entrepreneur, I don't ever want to have a boss, I want to start off my own. And there's some examples of people who do that successfully. But to your mind, the advantage of knowing the environment before you go and service that environment?
I think it's you're 100% correct. I mean, that's the logic. To young people that start businesses, they do need help. I think the enterprise world, and I'm not talking about the starting up in a garage and you've got a little something. When you start to grow, the problem is that in the beginning it's okay, you can carry yourself. Is what happens when you are successful. And that's the challenge. Success becomes a challenge of new entrepreneurs, and they shouldn't be shy. They shouldn't feel too confident, and get some help of people who are a bit older, a bit more experienced, and probably when I'm out of what I'm doing, I'll probably try and do that and try and help people who've got a lot to give. But you can't replace experience, unfortunately. You can't buy it. You can't read the experience from a book. You got to live it. So some guidance, some help would help those young entrepreneurs. Somebody
in the tech space who's doing completely different to you is a young man called Zuckerberg who started Facebook. What do you think of Facebook?
What do I think of Facebook? I think it's an amazing story. I was talking about UH. I mean, this is a startup, and this is a story. And in fact, what we just said, you see some of that experience. You see some of the maturity coming through, some of the subtlety lacking. Humility, a very, very important dimension that get learned through the years. Just to humble up, and when it's not there, you would pay the price for it. And it's a really an important ingredient in running a business, in being in business. So, but it's an amazing story. Thank God I did not invest my money in it. But there is still a lot to be changed in that game.
Of course.
We are only starting there. It's not the end of any story. It's the beginning of a lot of things to evolve. And I must admit, being in the technology world, we are learning a lot about that space. It's a very exciting space there.
I'm so sorry we have to leave it there. I've thoroughly enjoyed the last 20 minutes. Bohbot, thanks so much for coming in. The founder and chief executive of EO Tonight's shapeshifter, what valuable lessons he shared with us.